Great, thank you. Call to order the meeting. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from June 10th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or any modifications, deletions, corrections before we have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I think Tyler tried to second. I heard a couple there. So great. All in favor of approving the minutes from the June 10th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Believe the ayes have it. Let's move on to new business item. Excuse me, number A, the proposed site development plan of runway self-storage. Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me pull up. Let me start a new share. And all right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Proposed S19-2 runway self-storage is located at Lot 7 in Meadow Branch Industrial Park 2. This lot will be located at newly created Lot 7A in Meadow Branch Industrial Park 3, as conditionally approved by the Commission in April. The site plan proposes 6 self-service storage buildings, which total 425 individual storage units. Runway self-storage will be constructed in 2 phases. Phase 1 will consist of Building A, B, and F, including temporary vehicle and accessory storage. In addition, all proposed landscaping will be provided as part of Phase 1. Phase 2 will fully build out the rest of the proposed development. Staff reviewed the site plan for compliance with the landscape manual and other applicable zoning ordinance landscape requirements. In respect to landscaping, working with the applicant has yielded a far better landscape design, as can be seen in the report and slide. Left shows the first submission and the right shows the current submission. Staff received several landscape modification requests from the property owner that are highlighted in the report and slides. The actual requests submitted by the applicant are attached to the staff report. The city has been diligently working with the applicant to make sure all city rules and regulations have been followed. The Director of Community Planning and Development has reviewed the most recently submitted landscape plan along with the requests for modification and has decided to grant the landscape modifications. Staff worked with the applicant on the design of the site and the architecture of the proposed buildings. The side of Building B has been fitted with a more architecturally pleasing side since this elevation can be seen through the gate. The applicant is also proposing architecturally pleasing gooseneck lighting for all lighting on the exterior of the fenced-in compound. Staff would like to bring the following modifications to the attention of the commission, so you can make a determination on each of the modification requests contained in the report and the slides. More information is contained in the outstanding issues section, which follows. Leading to the outstanding issues section for this project, there are 3 issues that are outstanding in which the planning department staff is requesting action from the commission and are as follows. Building design. The Planning and Zoning Commission can dictate how the building should look while determining a modification to the Development Design Preference Manual. The commission is being asked to review the design of Building A facing Buckshot Road and Building F facing the private driveway and visible from Buckshot Road. The elevation of the other 5 buildings, which are buildings B through F, are not visible from Buckshot Road and are not required to provide enhanced architectural elevations. The applicant is proposing manufactured stone veneer around the base of buildings A and F that are visible from outside the property and beige exterior insulation finishing system, EIFS, for the rest of the outside wall. The Development Design Preference Manual states that variations in roof lines and the roof structure being incorporated, as well as features such as overhanging eaves and dormered windows. Planning staff requests that a variation of roof lines be provided by mixing in parapet walls and/or a second tower at the west end, or a tower in the middle of the long wall along Buckshot Road to break up the long, flat roof of Building A. The commission is also being asked to review the design of the site as it relates to the connectivity of the pedestrian infrastructure. The manual states developers should include walkways and sidewalks to connect their development to the existing community's pedestrian network. Planning staff requests the proposed development include a pedestrian connection that connects the business office to the new public sidewalk located along Buckshot Road. FPL, for the second issue, outstanding issue, FPL 2001, Carroll County Commissioners still must submit a final plat to be reviewed and approved by the commission for the subdivision of Lot 2A as depicted on the plat for Meadow Branch Industrial Park 2. And the third outstanding issue is the site signage. The applicant must reduce the 161.7 square feet sign on Building A to 64 square feet maximum to comply with the city zoning ordinance. Lastly is the recommendation. Staff recommends that the commission consider conditional approval of the proposed site development plan with the following conditions: that the applicant address all city and county comments prior to submission of signature set Mylars, and Carroll County Commissioners submit a final plat to be reviewed and approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission for the subdivision of Lot 2A as depicted on the plat for Meadow Branch Industrial Park 2. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if I may I take this moment to ask the applicant one question regarding the signage?
Please.
Mr. Peckus?
Yes.
Just a real quick follow-up with looking through the signage and where that is on the wall. I guess I know that the signage through the development process and through different submissions has changed in the location on Building A. But is the site signage located on, I'm just trying to get a better idea of where the site signage would be located. Would it be located to the right, or I should say the right of Building A to the left of the tower, or would it be located on the west end of the building? Just to get a better idea of where that would be.
Right.
With the mission.
No, I understand. I'm gonna get the plan out here and look and try to explain this. So let's call north the adjacent lot 8 and south Buckshot Road. Okay, west will be to the left and east will be towards the airport.
Okay.
So that one sign, I want to go down here, the signs. I gotta ask, we gotta get Mr. Howell to also chime in here a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Can
I'm
you
gonna
hear me?
say, so the sign with the goosenecks is
So on the west side.
along Buckshot Road.
So
If
down
you
here.
see as you're coming towards, it's the sign that you would see as you're coming on Buckshot towards the airport on the one end of the building, the one that's to the west.
Under
That's what I
Building
thought.
A, if you're standing on Buckshot Road and you're right in line with Building A, that's what you see. Now, I gotta tell you here, to me, the tower should be on the other side, but aren't you gonna just put it in the middle of that width, Forest? Isn't that
No,
where
no.
you're gonna?
No sign directly. It's the one on the tower, which we have, and then on the west side of Building A. So you have to look at the plans basically, but it's
Well,
on-
yeah, but your
right where
plans
the
building-
cursor is. Yes, where the cursor is. Perfect. That's where it is.
Yeah,
So when you're driving
Yes.
toward the airport from the development, you're going to see.
140.
No, not from from
west
140.
side.
From 140 side, you'll see it on the west side of the building.
Yeah, I'm
Little
sorry, I
confused.
said that a little wrong, but yeah, if you're driving down Buckshot and you're west of Building A and you look at the end, you should see it about in the middle of that building.
Yeah, on the west side, correct.
Yes, on the west side, on the west end, we'll say.
Yes,
That
correct.
building, that 60-foot wide end, we will
Yes.
have it approximately in the middle.
Right. That's correct.
Because when I reviewed your site plan, it was a little confusing because when you look at that elevation, that's called the west elevation, it kind of almost looks like a tower's on that west elevation, and that really is not the case. The tower,
It's in the
I guess in theory, you could see the tower that's on the east elevation, but the perspective is just goofy looking.
Yeah,
That's on the site plan.
Absolutely
I
correct.
know what you mean.
Yeah, you can see the top of that tower from the west. You can see it. I think it's supposed to be on the other side.
So there's no tower on that west side, just.
No,
Correct.
there is no
Here.
tower, correct.
Because when you
It's
look at
just
your
like
elevation, it's
beyond,
a
you're
little
looking
confusing.
beyond.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Gray?
Yes, it does, Mr. Howe. Thank you.
Great, no problem.
And Mr. Chair, if you have any questions for me, I'm here, and also the applicant is here as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Let me ask the applicant with regards to the outstanding issues. Number one, the building design, this we'll call it 1A. Does the applicant have any issue with what the staff is requesting with regards to the variation of the roof lines?
Yeah, just a few points I'd like to make. First of all, we do have overhanging eaves on that roof line, as the city has recommended. And we have a beautiful standing seam roof that is going to actually, it's pitched. It's a low pitch, but it is pitched, and you will be able to see some of that from the road. It's a nice looking sign. Roof, I'm sorry. And the design of that roof is to shed the water off slowly on through the stormwater treatment facilities that we have located running parallel to Buckshot Road. So putting up the parapets, as mentioned by the city, will obstruct the flow of the water and produce a negative effect on the roof design. So we really want to get away from this parapets if at all possible. Also, I'd like to add, due to the incredible number of trees that we're putting in the planning units, the roof line is going to be obstructed very quickly. We can see all the trees that we added. And we have the tower located at the one end. That's to draw attention that side, because that's where the office is and the entrance. So we don't really want to add a second tower. We don't want to confuse people. So those that really defeat the purpose of the tower if we put a second one out there. It's designed to draw attention. And we have the ephes, which is a really nice touch. And I think it's a good looking building. It really is.
Okay. Anyone from the commission have any comments or questions with regards to that first issue, the building design and the variation?
Yes, sir. Question for Mr. Howell, a couple of questions just for clarity. The standing seam roof that you're referring to, because it's kind of hard to tell from pictures because you're looking at two-dimensional. So that roof, you're saying, does have a pitch that goes from the north to the south towards the stormwater management facility. So
Yes.
You're actually going to kind of see that roof.
Yes.
It's not just a purely flat roof on building A.
No, it's not.
I understand what you're saying in that regard. I don't know what the other commission members' feelings are. I certainly understand where staff is coming from, though I will say, I think in this particular use, with the kind of use that it is, and the fact of all the landscaping, I don't know that personally I have a big problem with the current design as shown. I understand, I think it's nice that you have the tower. I think it looks nice. And I understand you're trying to draw attention to that being the office. And you have a significant amount of landscaping. Once that takes hold, I'm not sure how much of the building you're really going to see, but
Right.
Through the landscaping, which is a quick side note, which we'll get to when you get to the sign, and approach that in a minute. I'm not sure you're gonna see that one sign with the way the landscaping is gonna go, but we can get to that later. That's my basic comment, but I very much want to hear what the other people on the commission think.
Any other comments, questions? Yes, Linda?
I think that the building looks great. The kind of building it is, it looks very modern. And I think that some of these parapets to me are looking a bit dated with modern architectural design. And I think what they've done, the more streamlined look is more along modern designs. These parapets are really starting to look dated. And I think it looks good. And it's a storage facility. I think, keeping it plain and the way it's designed, I think it looks great. And I agree with Dan.
Thank you. Anyone else from the commission have any comments, questions with regards to the first issue? Okay. Anyone have an objection to letting the applicant just move forward without the staff's recommendation with regards to the first issue?
The only thing was the sidewalk tied into the first issue also?
Oh, no, that's
We're gonna get to
another
that.
issue. We'll get to that one.
Okay, well, hearing no objection, I think that's our feelings with regards to that first issue and the variation of the roof lines. On to the sidewalk. Does the applicant have any issue with the staff's request of the proposed development, including a connection to the sidewalks?
Yes, I got a couple comments here, Mr. Howe
Okay.
again. Thank you. One of the questions that came up was whether this was an ADA requirement, but we do have letters from the county indicating that the site plan complies with the Maryland Accessibility Code and the 2010 ADA accessibility design, so there's no problem there. The facility is located within an industrial park, and we are providing that sidewalk that runs parallel to Buckshot Road, which will be used if another property is developed next to me, will connect. For safety of my clients that are renting units, I really don't want people walking into the facility and, scoping out or casing the facility. It's a lot easier when you have that sidewalk. They can just come right up there. I really don't want people walking into the facility. And my typical client is going to be at minimum, we're going to be using a truck or at minimum a car to get into the facility and transport their goods. Really, I don't think I will have any pedestrian foot traffic whatsoever, because these are rather large lockers, and you need to have a truck. You don't really carry large items on your back. And another issue, the sidewalk will create a problem with the landscaping, because we have designated area there for landscaping, and the sidewalks actually interrupt that, cause a problem. And in lieu of the connecting sidewalk, we've installed extra wide shoulders along the private drive that I have to maintain. That's part of our stormwater management. I'm going to keep that cut very low, and that will act as basically a grass sidewalk. So in the unlikely event that I do have pedestrian foot traffic, that connects with the sidewalk and it could come right up that shoulder into the facility. But the sidewalk is just going to cause a lot of issues for me, and I prefer that we just not have that if at all possible.
Andrew, can you put the plan on the screen so that everybody can
And
online
I think
see
put the
sidewalk
landscape
and relate?
plan on.
Yeah,
Put the landscape plan on if you can, Andrew.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, sure.
so we can actually see. Can you enlarge that? Okay,
So running along the Houston Common driveway, we're going to have the private driveway. There's going to be extra wide shoulders, which are part of the stormwater management. And they're going to have to be maintained. I have to maintain that. So that's what I'm talking about. And that all connects with the sidewalk.
Well, Mr. Howe, just a question. You know, you have a concrete walk in front of the office.
Yes,
Um,
right,
and so
parking lot, yes.
just to clarify what staff is asking for, I don't know that they were asking for the sidewalk running up the private drive as much as they were talking about the sidewalk in front of the office connecting down to the sidewalk that is on Buckshot.
Oh,
Right, that's it, right.
That-
Well,
that's
that's where we're
it.
talking about going through landscaping. We will have to get rid of some of that if that's okay. And remember, we probably need to look at several of these plans. That's a big bioretention basin right there at the end of that sidewalk. And I guess I'd have to wind it around a little bit. I'd have to get behind there. You can't see me pointing or anything. We got shrubs right along the edge of the driveway there. Some of those are gonna have to go. And I probably am gonna have to make this handicap now, 2% or less. And I
What
think
would
I
you have
can
to
do
make
it,
handicap?
the sidewalk connection.
The fall of the driveway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, your sidewalk in front of the office is already handicapped accessible.
Yes, of course, but getting it from the right of way to that building, I think I'm okay. I've never really checked to see it. I didn't know if we were gonna have to do it or not.
but it's
I
because
just
of
don't
the,
kind of understand, this isn't, we're not downtown with people browsing for, clothes or books or, shopping around, this is just for a person who has stuff to store, and he maybe wants to drive around, Westminster area and Hampstead and get an idea of prices of how much it costs to store. I just don't see much pedestrian traffic, what the advantage is, especially if the owner felt that easier access from the public right of way would help his business, or he would do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, none of this site has sidewalk. The sidewalk's only in front of the building because to kind of differentiate where people are gonna walk to go into the door, because we got 4 parking
Well, and
spaces
also
there.
you're planning for the future, because the problem with sidewalks is just because you don't have one there, if you're the first guy in and you're building and say, well, there's no sidewalks, and you don't build the sidewalk, then the next guy goes, well, yeah, that guy didn't have to do a sidewalk. And I think in the
Right.
long term, we do want the walkability. I get the point that it might not be necessary in your particular use, and that would be a comment for the rest of the planning commission to have comments on.
Okay,
But
sure.
as far as sidewalks in front of the property, I think, I mean, I totally get where that's coming from, because I dealt with that on Carroll County Planning and Zoning, and you go, oh, well, there's no sidewalk here. Well, it's because someone else let somebody else off the hook. And because
Yes,
they
I
were forced
do.
in the door, well, because I'm building a sidewalk that doesn't go anywhere. Well, you keep on saying that, and then the sidewalk's never there, and then you end up with, like on Chase Street, where I live, where there's areas where sidewalks not there,
Right,
or
right.
in the neighborhood where I live. So anyway,
Sure.
I'm going off subject, sorry.
Well, I am putting
Right.
in the sidewalk that runs parallel to Buckshot. I'm not. I don't have
Yeah,
a
no,
problem.
great.
Yeah, we
Keep that up
understand that,
if you want.
sure.
Yeah.
We got the
I have
crosswalk and everything.
one question.
Sure.
The use in common access road that comes off of Buckshot, what's the future use of that road? It's maybe more of a question for staff, because I'm just thinking, is the future use of that road that you will want sidewalk along that use in common driveway eventually to whatever gets built behind it?
And Commissioner Beaver, that use in common driveway, there's another lot back there. Actually, there's 2 buildable lots, one on the, as the plan is in front of you, there's one on the right and one behind this right in the, literally right behind where runway self-storage is proposed to go. So there would be 2 lots accessing Buckshot from this use in common driveway. And they're both zoned restricted industrial.
Well, I guess my question is, if both of those would be developed, would there be would the staff want sidewalk to be put along that use in common driveway to tie into the sidewalk on Buckshot? Because I guess what I'm getting at is if you wanted that, it would make more sense if the developer here would put a little piece of that in along that use in common to then be carried on when the next person develops, and that might make more sense than putting it through the bio area. But I didn't know what you thought for future, whether you'd be wanting a sidewalk all along that use in common.
And
So-
before I answer that, I see, if it's all right, Mr. Chair, Mr. Huff or Commissioner Huff has his hand up.
Yes.
I get what you're saying, Kevin. That I guess my only thought is that, you know, it's industrial, industrial development, and we don't have the aerial here, but having looked at the aerial before, you know, there's one lot behind it, and then, you know, I think there's two lots to the side. You know, and, you know, as he referred to, I think you have those extra kind of wide shoulders. I mean, I get the point in theory. You could say, well, you should have it, but it's going down a private drive. I definitely am a firm believer in it being along the front, just to kind of interconnect, because you have residential over here and all that. But you know, that street, that private street really isn't going anywhere but to more industrial park. It's not a through street that's planned in theory to ever interconnect. And in theory, if we're going to make the developer do that, we should really make them go the whole length of that private drive, which would be far more significant than literally just connecting, you know, the sidewalk along the front of the office to that. That's my comment there. I think that might be over more than necessary, in my humble opinion. It's my
But
thought.
does the staff agree that they don't believe they'd require any sidewalk along there? Because I don't know where the frontage of the next two buildings will be, you know, anything like that. I just didn't know what was you don't really know what's going to be built back there, but you're just going to wrap it around Buckshot to the next major street and not worry about any sidewalk in the middle? That's all I wanted to know.
Can I say something?
Please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so what's known behind this lot is what's known as Lot 8. It's the last lot. There's 3 lots in this subdivision. Lot 8, and then Lot 2 is the one on the side between there and the airport. I'm not sure all what's going on with Lot 2, but I know part of that is covered by this airport easement. It's not, I don't think it can be developed, or most of it can't be developed. I don't know what happened with the county there, and I might ask staff tomorrow something to get caught up to date with this illegal lot. But I don't know that Lot 2 will ever be developed. Lot 8, just so you know, this is off the record kind of, we had somebody representing a spice manufacturer company showing some interest in that lot. So that's one type of use, another manufacturing potential. I think the lot was a little too small for them because they had like, I don't know, 10 loading docks for trucks, and they needed maneuvering room. But that's really the extent of the development back there to me, is that one lot, Lot 8. I don't know what would drive a lot of people to walk back there or not. But I will say one last thing. The reason those shoulders are so wide, if you look at another plan sometime, the road lanes, it's a crown road, and the lanes are 11 feet wide, the pavement, and the shoulder's 11 feet, because that's a stormwater, it's called non-rooftop disconnect, or as the county puts it, wide shoulder disconnect. I'm actually getting credit for stormwater for treating this driveway by having those wide shoulders. If I do slap sidewalk there, and really, if you put sidewalk there, you really should have curb. You should have some kind of physical barrier between where people are going to walk, if you expect people to walk there. And I expect that when they do extend this driveway all the back to Lot 8, they'll just continue those wide shoulders for more stormwater. That's what I'm thinking. So I don't know, those are my
Okay.
reasons for kind
Yeah.
of trying to avoid sidewalk.
Well, thanks. So, I mean, at least we know it's not connecting to anything. So that's all I was wanting to hear from the staff.
Okay.
If it's not connecting, I guess you don't really need to loop people around.
Does Mr.
Right.
Gray or Mr. Depot have anything to add to
That
that?
ends there. Yeah.
Yeah, just to go off with what Mr. Petkus was saying, that lot 2, it's about 7 acres. 1/3 is in the easement, so 2/3 of that lot is out of the easement. So we're actually getting more interest on that lot than the lot behind this one. So it's developable. And you can still build in the easement, just not structures. So the parking could certainly possibly be in the easement. It's the height of structures and landscape and other elements might be able to be in there. But I think ideally, if this was a public road, certainly we'd be saying sidewalks would be extending back, because if you get other uses that provide a higher number of employees that do want to get out and walk, you'd want to get them out to the main road. And then eventually, as we go north to the lot 2 and they extend their sidewalk, the county lot that's illegal that we need to still try to figure out. Ultimately, the Hopewood sidewalk would be there all the way to Meadow Branch, which would extend all the way up to 97. So it's as Council Member Hoff mentioned, as we piecemeal and get these sidewalks over time, we will have this nice connection to everything. Like I say, so ideally, Kevin, you're right. If it's a public way, we would certainly be saying sidewalks would extend up to provide access, pedestrian access to all the other lots. This is a private roadway, so it does change a little bit. But we did look at that actually, and we did discuss that with the applicant from the beginning.
Okay, I get
So
the
if
sense that
someone-
we're, oh, go
If
ahead,
someone
Kevin,
built
sorry.
on lot 8 or lot 2, they would just be walking down along that using common driveway to get the sidewalks on Buckshot, right?
Exactly, and
These
it
guys can do the same thing as well.
it kind of takes us out. It's not a city roadway, so that's a benefit. But again, if it was a public way, we'd be asking for the sidewalk.
Yeah,
But
well,
you're
there's
okay
no
with-
reason you can't just let these guys do the same thing, really.
Yeah, and I think a good point was brought up. This is a secured facility, and this is something I didn't think about until honestly this meeting. That does have a fence around it. So I think that was a good point. But no, it's again, as you mentioned, Kevin, I think we did ask for that initially, and it was public to start off with. And as you recall, they came back to the Planning Commission and took away the public status, and now it's a private way.
Okay, I get the sense that we're not leaning towards the sidewalk connection then?
Well, I think we were talking about the sidewalk connection that Kevin was bringing up, which is along the private way, which isn't shown anyway. And what staff wasn't recommending, the thing that staff was recommending is the interconnectivity between the sidewalk in front of the office and the sidewalk along Buckshot. And does anyone have specific comments besides, in all honesty, I can understand both perspectives. What does the rest of the Planning Commission think?
I think I just said it. If you don't need sidewalk on Buckshot and the rest of those lots, people will walk down that using common driveway. The people in this mini storage can walk down the using common driveway as well. They won't need sidewalk coming from the office out.
Okay. Does anyone else think differently?
No, I agree with Kevin.
All right, sounds like we're leaning towards the no sidewalk connection for issue number 2. How about, 2A, if you will, or 1B? On to issue 2. Seems pretty self-explanatory. You've got to submit a final plat to be reviewed, I guess, by the county. Any objection to doing that from the applicant?
No.
Well, I don't think that's really a choice. I mean, I don't
Right.
think it's a choice for us to
And we
make.
got that.
I have to tell you, I'm a little taken aback. I mean, another consultant is doing the plat. And for the longest time, the ownership of that lot was Carroll County Commissioners, and it's suddenly now changed back to, what is it, Triple M. I don't
Yeah.
really know what's going on there, but it sounds like the county has to submit the plat. Other
Yeah,
than me walking in and saying, can you guys do this? I don't know what I can do.
Okay, yeah, you're correct. That is, so that has to be done still. So I'm not sure there's much comment from us to make on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's move on to number
Yeah, I
three.
think you guys can figure that out. Yeah.
The signage, does the applicant have any issue with the staff's request to, I guess, reduce the size of the sign?
No, I'll get that. I'm gonna, basically, I have a sign company. They're gonna redesign it and I'll resubmit. No problem.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Just a quick side note on
Sure.
that, just to share with the commission. I know that at a future Economic Development Committee meeting, Mr. Depo and myself will be talking about the sign ordinance and maybe updating that, because really, I don't think Planning Commission has the authority to modify it, even if we wanted to. And I would say that maybe our sign ordinance needs to be looked at. So that's on the radar screen for the future. Not that that changes anything for right now for the applicant, because you need to get your stuff done. But I will tell you that is on our radar screen to look at, and is something that we'll be addressing in the future, future Planning Commission meetings. So.
Great. Yes.
And if I could, the reason we brought this to your attention, because again, the plan shows it, and we don't want the planning commission approving a site plan that doesn't meet the ordinance.
Yep.
So that's why we're notifying the planning commission. Councilmember Hoff is correct. There's no modification in this case by the planning commission, but we were just making you aware of the fact that it had to be modified because we didn't want you approving something that wasn't legal.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, concerns before I ask for a motion? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve? And I suppose you could use the draft motion here in the memo, subject to the staff report and our comments. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to pass.
And is that in line with Ms. McNulty, the number one draft motion by the staff?
I think with the changes we recommended.
Correct. All right, Andrew, we'll go with that draft motion that you made.
The changes would be without the sidewalk and
Correct.
leaving the roof lines as are.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
motion to approve based on the staff report and the comments and decisions by the commission here tonight. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good, thanks.
On to item B. The reported recommendation for Board of Zoning Appeals, case number 2104. Mr. Gray.
Well, I'm sorry, Chair Ross. I just want to point out to the Planning Commission, this is a little bit unusual. The three next cases before you are special exceptions before the BZA.
Yeah, right.
However, with our new attorney, which is great with Board of Zoning Appeals, she did point out a specific section in the ordinance, and that was provided in the staff report 164, 166F.
So I was going to ask you about that, Mark, because, for all intents and purposes, for the next three items, the Board of Appeals says they shall send it to Planning and Zoning, and Planning and Zoning may decide to make a comment. So perhaps we all just decide tonight to make no comment. And I know that Dan will probably have a problem with that. So we'll.
No. What I'm gonna say about that.
But I guess my question is, from the time of the zoning, from the time the applicant was in front of the Board of Appeals to the time that it now is in front of us, how much time has gone by such that we could choose to make no decision at all? Like, has it been a month? Has it been a week?
No.
Has it been 2 days? Has it been no time? I was personally just
It
curious.
hasn't. We advertised for the first two, the telecommunication facilities, this
Okay.
past month. The good news is the applications had some issues and we were going to bring them back in August anyway. So the hope is, and Ms. Busey's here too, and I'm not misspeaking, but they were going to amend some of the application and it would have been bumped to August anyway, most likely. So it's no loss of time. That's why we pushed it on the planning commission. So that's good news. The third one, this is the first time it was advertised to go to August. So, but you're right. It's unusual. We've never done this before, and it is very unusual.
I think, Dan, we were
Yeah,
having
I
a
wanna-
comment about our sort of procedure of P and Z and stuff, and here seems like an instance that sort of seems like, oh, what's the point if we aren't even required to do it,
Well,
like,
Ross,
why
that's
are we
what I
doing
wanna-
it?
This is what I want to make a point of.
Yeah.
Ms. Ruff is technically correct. The practice apparently in the past has not been to do this, but it is in the code.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Depo, we've already talked about it. We're going to address an economic, our development committee. Having been on the Board of Zoning Appeals and having been on Planning Commission, I think this is a unnecessary process.
Yeah.
But staff is correct. They were
Yeah.
pointed out by legal counsel.
It says
We
shall.
have to do this.
It says shall.
But this can easily be fixed via a text amendment.
Hmm.
That is on my
Okay.
radar screen.
All right, good. I'm
So,
glad-
but my point to planning commission is we have to do this exercise tonight because technically it's been pointed out by legal counsel, this is what we're supposed to do. But your new friendly councilman plans on addressing this because I frankly, and all just being blunt, this is silly.
Well-
It should be going to,
We actually don't have to do anything. It says we may, so we
Well,
may
we're
just
gonna look
decide to
at
do
it.
nothing,
Well-
I mean, we honestly could say as a group, we choose not to make any comments because while the Board of Appeals shall, meaning must send this to us, all we have to do is may, and maybe we decide we don't want to make a comment. I mean, it does not say shall, Mark. It does not say shall. It says may.
I agree with you completely.
And so
That makes it a little bit more unusual.
With all due respect to, the applicants and the people here, I'm personally inclined to say, I choose to not make a comment on this because we do not have to. And this is just an unnecessary step that as Dan has pointed out. So, I mean, I don't know how other people in the commission feel. I mean, certainly don't want the applicants to feel like, I probably feel like they've wasted their time in some ways, but like personally, we don't have to make any comment on this at all. We can just say we have no comment. I mean, that's what the statute says. So why not say we have no comment? Unless anyone here truly, and it's, if you do, it does not matter to me. Like, I'm happy to hear from it, but I just want to point out to everyone, we don't have to say anything here. That's what the statute says. But we absolutely do have to have this step, as Dan has pointed out and Mark is now saying, we have to sit here and either listen to the presentation and then decide to make no decision or a recommendation, or we could all just say we're choosing to make no recommendations at all because that's what the statute says. And I think Dan has pointed out that like it's absolutely ridiculous, right? Like it's completely ridiculous. So Andrew, you had your hand up.
And if the commission would like, I can brief you on each item. I can run through them. And if
I'll put
not-
it. Let me do this. I will ask the commission here. Is there by a show of hands or yay or nay? Do we want to move forward and make a recommendation to the Board of Appeals, or are we choosing not to? I would say choose not to.
I would say choose not to.
someone make a motion to that.
I make a motion,
If
we
the
choose-
statute says, but the statute says may,
Yes.
I think you're attorney. I think you have a valid point, so.
If it said shall, as Ms. Is it Busey or Bussey? She would probably say, you're right, Ross. It says shall, you must. It says may, it says you don't have to. So like, I'll make a motion that we make no recommendation on this item. Is
I
there a
second
second?
it. I
There's a
second it.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right. I convinced Kevin. Okay. Thank you. Sorry to waste your time. I think we'll get it fixed. Dan he's definitely a proponent of coming in here and, or Mr. Hoff of, making things easier for business owners. And I think his comments are, encouraging to the rest of us. And I think probably to the applicants to hear, like, at least he recognizes, like, this seems like a very unnecessary step. So
It is.
thanks for speaking up, Dan, or Mr. Hoff. I appreciate it. Okay, on to item C. Again, this would be the, where's my agenda? I lost it. Zoning, report and recommendation for Board of Zoning Appeals, case number 2105. Mr. Gray, before you begin, again, I'll make a motion to make no recommendation pursuant to the language in the statute. Is there a second?
I second it.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. On to item D, report and recommendation for Board of Zoning Appeals, case number 2106. Again, I would make the same motion to make no recommendation pursuant to the code. Is there a second?
I
I'll make
second
it.
it.
I've heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right.
Now, just to warn everybody.
I know, we're gonna hear we'll get.
No, I'm just gonna say, it might take a month or two to be able to get so we might have to go through this exercise once or twice past here, because it's gonna take a little while to get it done.
I'm sure there's probably language where it shall be in front of some other body, which may decide to make a decision or not a decision, and then three more like that too. Who knows? So, yes. Well, all right.
The only thing I sort of remember in the past, occasionally we had these zoning appeal cases brought before us, but I think it was that the staff looked at them and said, well, the planning and zoning might just be interested in that one. And I'd say 75% of the time, we probably didn't make a recommendation, but every now and then we might have put our 2 cents in, but we never got a lot of them. I think they somehow were selectively picking ones they thought that we may be interested in, or maybe ran it by the chairman at the time and decided. I'm not really sure, but I know that occasionally they've happened, but I'm sure most of them were passed right on through.
Yeah, great. Next item is old business. Is there any old business, Andrew?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You missed item E, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
sorry, already. How did I miss Ms. Weber? Sorry, county liaison report. Ms. Weber, my apologies.
I'll try not to take it personally.
We may not listen to you, so.
So just a couple updates. First off, I want to introduce Abigail Rogers. She is a new department staff, and she is going to be assisting me with the lovely city of Westminster. She'll be attending the meetings with me. If I'm not able to attend, she will be able to give you the updates for the county and just serve as another contact for you guys through the county planning department. Moving on to the updates, we are still going through the residential text, as Dan Hoff knows. We're hoping to forward it to the county commissioners, hopefully by August. We're still going through some topics that were up for discussion, getting citizen feedback and things like that. And then lastly, the fall water and sewer amendment. I sent an email mainly for staff that the deadline for that is September 3rd. I think I heard back from Andrea today saying that she thinks there's going to be one. But just to let you guys know again, the deadline for that is September 3rd to get the application in.
Thank you.
And that's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Welcome, Ms. Rogers. Looking forward to hearing from you. And
Nice to meet everyone.
Are
See
you
everyone.
local? Are you local to Carroll County?
I am now. I just moved to Westminster from Annapolis.
Okay, all right. Well, you're coming out to our great landlocked county then.
Hey, it's lovely up here.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We're looking forward to working with you. Nice to meet you.
Same.
Okay, old business. Andrew, anything to discuss?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any informational items to bring up?
No, Mr. Chair.
Sometimes Councilman Yingling would mention some things here. If he had anything, Councilman Hoff, anything informational wise you want to bring to the P and Z tonight?
I've already talked enough, I think.
He's already talked enough. He's on his word limit. We've reached the count. Okay, any planning commission and public comments? All right, seeing
Wait
none.
a minute. Well, I had
No.
one more. I wanted to make sure there were no public comments. And I say that because I did notice that the wall was starting to be built out at the Royal Farms, and I wondered if Mr. Depot or Mr. Gray had just a quick maybe update on what's going on there.
So I was able to meet with the engineers for Royal Farm, and they reduced the amount of disturbance significantly and demonstrated that the disturbance was necessary for the wall and to get a vehicle in and out. So I think we got it down under 20,000 square feet. And again, it really is along the wall and not extending beyond. So we did sign off on that, and they're out there constructing.
Okay, that's what it looked like to me, but I wasn't sure. So I thought we'd ask, since we all went through that at the last meeting. Most of us went through that.
I
Great.
wish I would have been here.
Any other comments?
I have a comment from staff.
Sure.
I just would like the commission to know, and this was brought up at the Mayor and Common Council meeting on Monday. I was able to get in contact with Towson University. I went through the graduate program for geography and environmental planning. I contacted the program director, and Towson and the city, we were able to capitalize on a grant from AmericaView. Dr. Carter Wang came out to the city on Tuesday and flew a drone with a 6-sensor camera on the bottom to more accurately measure the normalized difference vegetation index and the land surface temperature and surface elevation of Main Street, more specifically between McDaniel College and Washington Road. That data was provided to me today. It was actually, I think, 12 gigabits of data that was provided by Towson to the city. I will be reviewing that soon. And also with the Tree Commission, which really spurred this, was the chair of the Tree Commission for the update of the Westminster Comprehensive City Tree Plan, wanted more updated NDVI and land surface temperature maps for the comprehensive tree plan that they're going to send to the Mayor and Common Council. And we were able to obtain, the last data we had was 2017, and we received, I believe it was May 2021 data, or June 2021, a lot more recent than 2017. So that information is now at the city, and I'm looking forward to including that in the comprehensive city tree plan. And I'm hoping that the Tree Commission will approve that, and then that will be sent to the Mayor and Common Council to review and or approve. And that is all that I have. Oh, and one other thing, when Dr. Carter Wang came out, he also flew another drone and took some very nice high definition pictures and video of downtown Westminster and McDaniel College. And Mr. Chair, that is all I have.
And real quick, we did send out some pictures to the Mayor and Common Council. I will shoot them to you as well. They are really good, really nice pictures of the Main Street, the new building, and McDaniel College. And I'll shoot that out to you tonight.
Great, thank you. Well, want to congratulate you all. You have passed the first week of law school. You learned that shall means you must, but may does not mean you shall. And so you all can take that moving forward in your lives. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight?
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Take care, y'all. See you next month.
Thank you all.